Days of unrelenting rain have pushed the province past its limit, and what you're seeing isn't flooding in the usual sense. It's a rapid, province-wide failure of streets turning into rivers, hillsides giving way, and entire communities cut off as the ground itself stops holding together. In urban areas, the water doesn't arrive politely. It surges. It slices through residential blocks and commercial streets, swallowing storefronts. Sold front yards and ground floors in minutes. The flood turns familiar intersections into moving channels of mud, debris, and force. You can feel the speed of the kind of speed that turns a car into a drifting object and a doorway into a breaking point. Families are trapped where they stand. Some are forced upward balconies, stairwells, rooftops, anywhere that buys height and time. Others are pinned inside home, watching water rise from the street to the living room like a countdown you can't pause. In moments like these, people don't evacuate with suitcases. They evacuate with whatever they can hold. A phone, a child, a bottle of water, a single bag that suddenly contains an entire life. Emergency crews are fighting two enemies at once, the floodwater and the collapsing terrain beneath it. Sandbags line the entrances of schools and hospitals like a last defense, but the water keeps pressing, and the ground stays saturated soft, unstable, ready to fail again. Debris is everywhere. Visibility drops. Routes change minute by minute. And then transportation collapses sharp. Rural roads vanish under brown water. Bridges crack as supports are eaten from underneath. In some places, entire highway sections give out, concrete snapping and sliding into valleys like the earth has opened up and decided it's done carrying traffic. When major roads fail, relief doesn't just slow down. It gets trapped behind the same destruction it's trying to reach. Now add the next layer of danger, power and water failures. Power lines hang low, buzzing faintly, then flicker out. Neighborhoods go dark. Tap water disappears. Towns switch to emergency deliveries. Repair crews push in, but soaked ground turns every fix into a risk. Floodwater and electricity are a lethal combination, and in a disaster like this, the most dangerous threats are often the ones you can't see.
In the quiet valleys of Guizhou province, devastation has drowned daily life. This isn't fiction. It's not a documentary.
In larger cities, the underground becomes the first place to surrender. Subway stations, underground malls, stairwell spaces designed for crowds become funnels for water. Escalators stop, lights go out. Water pours down steps like it's being poured into the city's lungs. People run for exits as entire lower levels vanish into darkness. And outside the city limits, farmland is taking a brutal hit. Fields are drowned in silt and standing water. Crops flatten under the weight of mud. Livestock is moved through knee-deep floodwater as barns fill and fencing fails. When farms flood at this scale, the storm doesn't end when the rain stops. The damage stretches forward into food supply, income, recovery time. Shelters are opening. Volunteers are handing out dry clothes, flashlights, and warm meals. Bulldozers are clearing roads where they still can. Soldiers and relief teams are delivering drinking water to stranded families. And even as rainfall eases in some areas, officials are warning the ground remains soaked and unstable, and landslides are still a real threat. Because this is what people forget about floods. The aftermath can be just as deadly as the peak. When residents begin returning home, they find the signature of a flood apocalypse: mud-caked floors, broken windows, appliances floating sideways, walls stained with water lines that mark exactly how high the terror rose. Rebuilding won't be quick, and understanding the full toll won't be immediate. Shaanxi has seen floods before, but not like this. This is what it looks like when water overwhelms infrastructure, when roads become rivers, when bridges and highways fail, when power dies, when families are forced onto rooftops, and when an entire region shifts from weather event to survival event. You're watching Weather Floods, and well, keep tracking the situation with calm. Clear updates as conditions evolve. If this report helps you understand what's happening, please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. Note: some footage may be used for illustration and may not show the exact event or location described. Stay informed. Stay safe.